So, you remember when we were going to call it the 24 minutes of Le Mans? Well, asses to that. Uh, Instead, welcome to the 40 minutes of Le Mans. Basically, we sat down and decided, okay, this is our version of the longest endurance race of the year. Oh, tied with like three others, but that's beside the point. We don't have plans for any Nürburgring or Spa or Daytona endurance races. That's not true, but for now, and the ones we do have aren't going to be this long. But this didn't make a whole lot of sense if we were going to emulate the 24 hours of the Mans and it be the shortest endurance race on the calendar. So we nearly doubled the race length. The 750 class naturally is the category of choice because what else would you send screaming down the Mulsanne at, like 350 kilometers an hour? It just makes the most sense. It's the second longest track we've ever gone to, so, we need the fastest vehicles to cover the distance. The 40 minutes of Le Mans is green, and four-wheel drive advantage goes to me for once in the very colorful Lamborghini Murcielago. There's a lot of Lamborghinis. We basically have like four big manufacturers at play today. There's a lot of Chevrolet, there's a lot of Lamborghini, and there's a few Dodges and a couple of miscellaneous cars. Already had a bit of contact there. No damage dealt though. Somewhere in this chaos, Dominic DePrisco is the POV driver. He's been known to be quite good at this track. He was the driver who I believe won the first Challenge Series race that took place here back in Season 1 when he battled Brian Ice for victory. That man's now his team owner, and he's also on the track somewhere back here in 15th. Probably 14th, but Ellie is putting the block on him for some reason. They are 3 wide for 8th place. Looks like Mika Harris is gonna make off with the lead there. Well, not the lead, but you know what I mean. We're also 3 wide ahead now. Things changing very quickly. Dom DePrisco is already into the top 5 and then some, and we haven't even gotten to the end of the Mulsanne yet. Glass and Aspinall fight for 5th in his rearview mirror. Battle of American cars. Also saw a pair of Ford GTs battling in the background. Yes, Aranto getting maybe ahead of Mika Harris and the Arby's machine. I don't expect Ellie to do a whole lot here, though. Unfortunately, her strategy was always going to be fuel saving and tire saving. That's all she can really do with a car of that kind of top speed. And Koroleva's in the dirt. I believe we'll have the best view of this incident from DePrisco's perspective. And yeah, Koroleva was never going to get that stop. Dom almost didn't get it stopped properly. But Koroleva broke like 60 meters after that. And her almost rejoin has really caused a shuffle here as people are just paranoid, and she will end up waiting. But I guess a lot of other drivers didn't think that she would. And it is a Murcielago 1-2. Wayne Hansen just had slipstream on me heading towards the second chicane. There's very little I could do. And in the back of my head, as I see Dom DePrisco filling my mirrors, well, he's not really filling them yet, but I just kind of had a feeling he was rapidly approaching, and I really don't want to be nearby when he gets up to the guy in front of me. I was honestly just hoping Dom had the speed that I thought he did, and that he would get up here and do my work for me, because we all know he and Wayne Hansen don't get along. It's a rivalry that's lasted 3 seasons now. We thought it ended last year when Hansen was originally eliminated from the series. But he managed to get the... I think he repaired his original Murcielago. Skipping ahead a little bit, and we can already see there's just a lot of turn 1 kerfuffle damage, which has trimmed about a third of the field down there. Actually, no. Only 5 cars with damage. I thought it'd be more, just because of the nature of the track and, you know, I don't have the most faith in people's abilities to avoid massive bottleneck incidents here. I'm not exactly perfect either. Nobody in the Challenge Series is, in that regard. Everybody is guilty. But some people are absolutely more guilty than others. A Lamborghini top 3, and all of us are within sight of the other. Dom's just, once again, I'm just getting my butt whooped by Slipstream. There's not much more to it. But I wasn't really keen to fight him too hard either. I knew what his objective was, and I didn't want any part of it, nor even to be nearby. As he starts making inroads on Dom. No. Yeah, he's gonna try and pass himself. No, he's making inroads on Wayne Hansen. A name to watch out for is Wanda Glass. She has already proven herself to be a bit of a Kingslayer. If it's just a random race on a Thursday, she's nothing special. But when there's big accolades on the line, this woman has proven to be a serious threat. You know, she won 2 of the Classics Triple Crown races earlier in the year, as recently as winning the Grand Valley 80 kilometers a couple of weeks ago. And I think Dom had the lead for a second, but Wayne Hansen took it back at the braking for the hairpin, and unlike his team owner, Coroleva, he actually got the vehicle slowed down in time. I have noticed Wayne Hansen has been a little more passive ever since getting onto Megalith Motors. As we have a battle between Demon Sports cars, Logan and Buck just fought too wide through the hairpin there, and it's going to be a drag race down towards Indianapolis for the 2 of them. Logan had a bit of a snap there, I think. They are dead even, but I think, yeah, Logan will finally get ahead, and Buck will try to peek down the inside, but it was half-assed at best. Aranto putting some pressure on Wanda Glass for P4, but of course we are most interested in the battle for first place. And in terms of the long game, Dom is in a little bit better shape because his vehicle is slightly more fuel efficient, by the looks of things. Their tire wear is basically identical. You'd need a magnifying glass to really spot the difference in the tire wear between any of us two. Really anybody in the top 5. Isabel's worn out her rears a little more, and that's the first noticeable difference. Everybody else is pretty much equal wear of about, I would say, 15% so far. And even Isabel's only at about 20-25. Begin lap 3. I believe we'll be looking at about 10 laps here. Maybe 11. Being a 40-minute race, laps are a bit under 4 minutes, so we should be getting 11, actually. I'm just kind of trying to account for pit stops, but I think we'll only be seeing 1 stop in the race. And it's going to be for both fuel and tires. Looks like everybody is basically settled to where they're going to be for a bit. We got like Aranto just kind of riding the bumper of Glass at the moment, but not really trying to pass, it doesn't seem like. They both kind of missed the corner there. Oh, here we go. Never mind. As I speak, Dom DePrisco goes for the race lead, and he has it. And he holds the middle of the road to make sure that Hansen can't so easily outbrake him. Relatively civil battle between 2 drivers that I expected to be exchanging bumpers. That's a bad chicane for DePrisco. And I think Hansen's going to get back into the lead from there. No, he doesn't. Dom runs the exit wide to maintain momentum and stays in the lead for now, but Slipstream has probably got something to say about that. Sudden lane change from DePrisco. Hansen is unwavered. He's going to try and outbrake him at the second chicane. Door to door. Dom tried to set up a crossover, a double crossover at that. And he does kind of have it. They're back alongside each other. Now, you wouldn't think that these two want murder every time they look at each other. They're racing pretty tamely so far. Is this something I wasn't privy to? Do they finally settle their differences, or are they just keeping appearances for the big screen? Aranto outdragged Wonderglass on the straightaway. The 9 car has no response. Logan Cool up to the back, maybe, not really, he's not that close to Brian Ice, never mind. Continue to watch the lead battle, although it's not currently a big battle. I think that's been settled. I think, again, Wayne Hansen probably just outbroke DePrisco at the hairpin. He's not been the most confident into that specific turn, but he has had no shortage of confidence at, well, any of the other works. He seems to especially be fast in the Porsche curves and Ford chicanes, which we are about to hit for the 3rd time in the race. And yeah, you can already see Dom is just right there on the tail of that yellow Lamborghini. Although they do seem more evenly matched this time through. Not that you really can use a massive pace advantage through here because it's a one-line section. You just have to get a run off and take it down to the first chicane and hope you can stick it, because the second chicane is not feasible, and Hansen understeered badly. I wonder if he didn't bottom out there on that little F section. And now it's Dom's turn to hang on to the lead for a while. He's also been showing speed in the first sector, the run from the line to Mulsanne. So I wonder if he will be able to make a big enough gap through here to be safe from Hansen on the back straightaway, but it doesn't look like it thus far. Hansen is keeping him on his toes as we head under the Dunlop Ridge. And I've got company now. Aranto has dragged Wonderglass up to me, which is not really what I like. That is not a safe distance. Slipstream will work from there, and Wayne Hansen will be right back alongside him in due course. Going forward with the Murcielago driver. Dominic trying to break the Slipstream. Braking later. Oh, no contact, but very close to contact. That GT is a wild animal in a straight. I would like to point that out. That thing is terrifying to be in front of. In terms of the straight line speed battle, I think Jock Aranto's Ford GT technically wins that. But because he's rear-wheel drive, he's wearing his tires out a little more. But yeah, look at that, 236. And that's a 6-speed gearbox. He had another gear in there he didn't even need to use. Utterly insane machine is that Ford GT. Hansen, nothing doing there. So DePrisco managed to hold the lead for the whole back stretch. We all stay in something that resembles a formation, heading down to the hairpin. Everywhere else is kind of just, everybody's just on their own. Like, We got like little trains with cars, but there really aren't too many battles going on except for the ones at the front. Or if they are going on, the cameras haven't been doing a great job of showing us. That was a weird Arnage for DePrisco. I think he tried to take it forward on purpose to cause Hansen to have to back off. Or perhaps he was trying to bait him into doing something stupid, who knows. It is Wayne Hansen, he is definitely privy to doing dumb things at times. I think what it was is, well, I certainly knew. Anyway, I don't know if Glass really did. I don't think Aranto had any clue. But I wasn't really worried about pushing my car because I figured these two were probably up here beating the hell out of each other. But as it would turn out on the replay cameras, they really weren't, actually. So DePrisco's gonna lead this entire lap. We cut ahead to being back on the Mulsanne straightaway. The sun fell very quickly, and combine that with the sudden cloud cover over parts of the sky, and we are suddenly plunged into darkness, and Wayne Hansen is gonna go for it in the dark of night. Not really, it's like 8:30, but still. And they go too wide through the hairpin again. I think that was minor contact at the apex, but DePrisco was unaffected and retains the race lead. In other news, Wanda Glass again just slipstreamed past me on the way to the second, or the, not the second, that, excuse me. On the way into the first chicane. I know how to count. I would say we'll see if she has the speed to catch up to the 57. I don't think she needs it. I think Aranto's tires will fail him. We're looking around at that. Wayne Hansen had another huge run down towards the second chicane, and he outbraked. No, he doesn't outbrake the Huracan. Dom just misses the apex, and Hansen just slips on in. Slips into something more comfortable, like the race lead. This is the 6th or 7th lead change, I would say. And we may be looking at another one, as Dom had a better run out in the long run, and slipstream helps too, I'm sure. 88 car, nope, 250. Duck season, Rabbit season, Huracan season, Murcielago season. Lamborghini putting on a clinic between the 4 representatives of the track today. I'm not out of it. I had a long-term plan, believe me. It just may be a little longer term than I had anticipated. I thought there'd be an earth-shattering kaboom by now. DePrisco sneaks by on the way down to Arnage in Indianapolis. Hansen sends it at Indianapolis. He gets his car halfway alongside. There's minor contact. DePrisco still unaffected. Remains the leader. Hansen sticks his bumper in. More contact. This is what I'm used to from these two. But even then, this isn't that much more than what you'd expect from a regular 24 hours of Le Mans, especially in the DP class. You just kind of get little fender benders and bumpers. Dom goes for it at the entrance to the Porsche curves, but trying to outbrake somebody on the outside at a turn like that is never likely to work. Hansen misses the apex. Dom is back, and forcing him super wide. Wayne Hansen has to concede or leave the circuit altogether. It looked like a dive bomb attempt there, but I don't believe it was. Oh boy. They're getting near the halfway mark, and I imagine it won't be long before we see some cars pit. I don't think Jock Aranto is going to want to do another lap on those tires. That left rear is looking utterly destroyed, but he is going to continue anyway. It seems like his plan may be to try and hold up me and Glass. But for who? Isabel, his teammate, is all the way back here with even worse tires. I don't see it. I simply do not know what his plan is there. He's got the fastest car, but he doesn't seem to have the longevity in his tires. Whether that's a driving style thing or just the way that the car is set up. But you can just see now the lack of grip when a Viper has more tire life than you, you're kind of driving it a little too aggressively. And I knew that by this point. I could just see in their cars, just the way that their cars were behaving. The problem I had was fuel instead. Aranto's hanging on for dear life. That is a wounded beast. And I think Glass probably knows it, just as well as I do. One of these liveries ran in this race some 20-something years ago. Hansen down the inside again at the first chicane, and Dom just got out of the way. I think that was a little more aggressive on the brakes from the 250 car, but Dom DeFrisco got a huge exit. You'll stay too wide with him for a minute, but the Murcielago does have better acceleration. Although the slipstream may change that. You're following pairs of unidentified headlights down the back straightaway. Another attempt from DeFrisco, but he was forced the long way around, and Hansen stays in the lead. Aranto, despite everything, he has enough straight line speed that he does, he's able to just hang on. He's able to hold on to third place, despite his tire life, just because he has a little more power, a little more straight line performance. Nothing doing for those two. I thought I was going to see a Wanda Glass dive bomb. She remained calm. I think she was assuming Aranto would probably take himself out, but he's managed to survive on those tires, much to me and Wanda's, well, certainly my surprise. I don't know how Wanda felt. I'm not inside of her head, but I know I certainly thought Aranto was going to bite the dust by that point, and he just simply hasn't. Speaking of dust, I don't know what I'm trying to segue into. This is just a run to the Porsche curbs. Dom is going to get the inside of the first part, but he's still going to be forced the long way around. He still might make it, despite the car wiggling under braking a lot. Now it's the inside. They make contact. Hansen sideways! And that is what we expect. But it's still not nearly as bad as I thought. Dom just kind of got his elbows out and said, "This is my line, get the hell out of it." And Hansen had no choice in the matter anyway. I think Glass became cognizant of her tires. She let me go on the way up to the Porsche curves. Which confused me. And I felt like I was walking into a trap, but I did it anyway. Wayne Hansen hits. He does not have enough fuel to make it around again. Jacques Aranto is going to continue again anyway with no I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I really don't. I barely had enough fuel to get around again. But he spins right there because he has no fucking tire left. I don't understand. Did you not notice that? You're like the fastest rookie, but you just don't seem to know how tire wear works or something. And thus it was down to me and Wanda, and at this point I realized, okay, Hansen and DeFrisco are playing ball. They're not murdering each other, so I guess I'm going to have to actually start pushing it. And unfortunately, that left me with the side effect of bringing Wanda Glass with me, who I was just as concerned about as anybody else. The slipstream moment. Fucking McLaren F1 speeds in a Dodge Viper. Not even I had ever done that, mainly because my Viper didn't run 750. I didn't really, I didn't feel like I needed to move it up. The Murcielago usually does the fucking job pretty well. But Wanda Glass maybe second-guessed that a little. And around goes the 57 again. Are you happy with your decisions? You can't even get it going straight again. And soon your right rear is also going to be toast. You have thrown away what could have been an easy podium by just not pitting. I wouldn't be surprised if Wayne Hansen passes him before the end of this lap. Actually, no, I'd be more surprised if he didn't, because I'm sure Aranto's gonna spin again. Now he might be learning that he doesn't have any tire left. Finally. Looking at what's back here at the completely fresh rubber on Wayne Hansen's car, and you're like, maybe. DeFrisco kind of took his foot off the gas on this lap. He must have thought he had it in the bag when Hansen hit earlier than him, and he thought he'd just get an easy, smooth overcut. I think reality is about to give him a little bit of a splash of water. Not only is Hansen probably running the quickest lap of the race right now, ignoring the fact that it's an out lap, but me and Glass were catching him pretty quickly too. If we were catching him, I can only imagine Wayne Hansen with his fresh tires was absolutely blitzing the racetrack. Do we have another Jock Aranto spin? No, but he's not going very fast, and this is probably the only thing keeping Hansen from taking the lead on the overcut. I make my way to the pits. I am out of fuel. Glass is not. Her endurance driving is impeccable because she's also saving fuel in a fucking V10. I could never. This is literally going to be the difference maker. This is the reason Wayne Hansen doesn't take the lead off the pit cycle, is because Jock Aranto is in his way. He finally gets the genius idea to get some new tires. He had enough fuel for another lap is the funny part, but that just doesn't matter. You need tires, you idiot, and Wanda Glass ain't gonna be far behind that either. Her left rear is just barely gonna make it through this lap, but she needs to pit on this lap, and I imagine that she probably knows that too, is the difference. She also ran a 3:31 on the previous lap, despite her tires being dead, so I don't know. Maybe she's using it to her advantage, or maybe she's only just put the fuel mix up, which is kind of looking like the case, because that's a lot. That's fast. The run off of the chicanes, not good. But once she gets to like 5th gear, she's pulling on Dom DePrisco, and she wasn't even close enough to get slipstream at first. Now she maybe is, but it's a little late for that. Now her left rear is officially dead. But we'll see if maybe she has a little more car control than Jock Aranto. It's not completely dead, but man, that's at like 2%. And here's Wayne Hansen cruising on the back straightaway, only about 25-30 seconds behind. Glass actually gives DeFrisco a bit of a bump at Mulsanne. No damage for either of them though. Right on board with the Viper driver, who's effectively a tired necromancer at the moment, if she's still maintaining any amount of traction on these right-handers especially. Yeah, you can see the difference in mentality there. On the way into the right-hander, she was super cautious, probably doing like 20 miles an hour slower than the 88. But then intentionally spun the wheels, pushing the car out of the left-hander. And did it again out of that hairpin, which was probably a result of the tire wear. But she's not spinning the car, which Jock Aranto failed to do. Now we see the two leaders finally pit, both out of resources effectively, although Dom's tired, could have got another lap, but, you know. And now we keep our eyes on the 250 car. Where does Wayne Hansen rejoin in the chaos? First chicane, second chicane. So he will be the race leader, no doubt about that. Oh, he's gonna have a comfortable lead, actually, yeah. The undercut has been big. Oh, that must have been a huge miscommunication between driver and crew. DePrisco is way overfueled. He needed like maybe half a tank. His fuel tank is full. That's gonna lose him a spot to Wanda Glass, but not anybody else. Oh, well, never mind. He lost fucking me, I guess, as well. And obviously to Wayne Hansen, but that was heavily contested even before the pit cycles. So the undercut has worked. Wayne Hansen has a massive lead. I would call that about 8 or 9 seconds over me, and about 12 back to Dom DePrisco, who he was previously fighting for the lead. We are going to have better tires, but with only, we'll call it 3 laps to go, I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. His tires are still not really worn yet. They're only at about 10% wear, maybe. If Wayne Hansen does lose the race, it is simply on pace and pace alone. But I imagine all 3 of us, me, Dom DePrisco, and Wanda Glass, were all in push mode. DePrisco probably had to push even more. He was probably revving out the engine a lot just to try and get a little bit of fuel out of the car. He was going to get alongside me and just embarrass me under brakes. I don't even know how he got that stop in time. Somehow, despite his foolishness, Giacoranto didn't really lose that many places, but that's just because the field spread was so crazy in this race. Mulsanne just kind of has a way of doing that. We move forward to the start of the 10th lap here. 6 minutes to go. My nose is stuffy. And Dom DePrisco is a man on a mission. Me and Wanda, we didn't have a whole lot to offer at the moment, but Dominic is being propelled on probably spite. I was gonna say instinct, but I mean his instinct is to beef with this guy, so maybe it is that. Coroleva finally pits. You made those tires last 10 laps, 9 laps, but still you made them last 35 minutes. But now you have to pit, and everybody else is gonna pass you. Should have just pit sooner and undercut. Not many people actually just split the race in half. A lot of people did just try to go to the end of their fuel tank or the end of their rubber. Go on board with Dom DePrisco. He can see those Murcielago taillights up there. He is going to gain on it a lot with very cavalier braking. And just like that, one chicane later, the battle for the lead is on once again. Like it hardly even ended between Dom DePrisco and Wayne Hansen. 88 car to the race lead with braking performance that nobody could have seen coming. Certainly not Wayne Hansen, who will out-drag him in the long run back down towards the second chicane. Dom holds strong on the outside. Wayne Hansen couldn't even dream of a crossover. He actually broke traction at the apex of the chicane. Meanwhile, Wanda. What the fuck? Wanda Glass and I just kind of let her go at the chicane. I didn't feel like it, honestly. I figured if I was going to fight, I was going to fight on the final lap. If Wanda's got the faster car, maybe she can drag us up to these two. Especially since we're getting near the end of the race, desperation's probably going to start to creep in. And I'm sure Dominic DePrisco will tell you all about what Wayne Hansen is willing to do when he is desperate for victory. Especially since he won the strategy game big time. He's going to also win on the brakes in Indianapolis. Bumper to the back of the 250, there it is. Dom DePrisco gets a big piece of Wayne Hansen. Both cars damaged in the process. Does Hansen tough it out? Can he even tough it out? I had a thought. DeFrisco was way too passive through there. He just broke late though. It wasn't even malicious. Or if it was, he was doing really good at hiding it. Wayne Hansen tries to block him off on the way out, but like this isn't an unreasonable breaking point either. He just missed. Yeah, that's about where I break. But he gets into the back of Hansen. That is... Oh no, that's what damages Dom. Hansen just kind of checks him up on the exit. But Hansen forced him to stop on the exit of Arnage, and that's gonna do more damage to both cars. If I go down, I'm dragging you with me mentality, which I would expect nothing else from those two. I'm just surprised we went 37 minutes before we got these two to hit a snag. I really thought we would have had a caution flag the second I saw that these two were the ones fighting for the win. Dom is riding his fucking diffuser now. They're both damaged. I wonder if they'll both pit. I don't remember actually. I don't remember even as the person sitting fourth who directly benefited from whatever happened here. Oh, well that definitely made Hansen pit right there. Not happy about it. Not happy that his bump and run got countered. Dom doesn't pit, Hansen does. Which kind of surprised me. Or surprises me, for that matter, because I figured Hansen would have stayed out for the sole purpose of fucking up Dom. White flag is in the air, 2 minutes left of race time as we start lap 11 around the Circuit de Le Mans, or Circuit de la Sarthe. But again, now Dom DeFrisco is the wounded beast. He's got front aero damage, which is gonna hurt his straight line capabilities because of the aero deficiency that'll come from damaged bodywork. And he'll lose some cornering speed too, less front aero, less front downforce, less turn-in. And it's obvious in the way that glass just pushed straight through Tetra Rouge, probably gained a whole second right there. And this is where it got manic. Wanda and I are in no position to win this race. Dom and Hansen were the fastest cars on the track, but they just don't like each other. They could have easily battled to the finish line, but Dom went for a bump and run. Admittedly, it was a fair bump. Hansen got petty about it, jammed on the brakes on the exit of the hairpin. Hansen pit. Strangely enough, DeFrisco didn't. He must have thought he could hang on to the lead, but me and Glass had other ideas. Up and doing at chicane number 2. Dom is still hanging on for dear life. Wanda is pushing it. She knows this is her opportunity to make a late surge, just like she did at the Deep Force 44. Ironically, Dom DeFrisco is one of the two drivers he stole the win from, although it was Dedrick Schwartz fighting for the lead with them, not me. I literally pushed her ahead of Dom, is the funny part. I tried to give her a bit of a bump. She didn't even care. But Dom was completely thrown off. I used the bumper. All three of us now have damage. That wasn't really my best decision, but now all three of us are damaged. We're all on even playing fields. We'll take another look at what was effectively the move for the lead, with a bit of assistance, if the camera really helps us with that. It will. Yeah, you can see I just kind of run up against the bumper, and I push her into the back of Dom is the funny part. She was going to put the bumper to the back of Dom DeFrisco. I was going to put the bumper to the back of her. Dom was just a bystander, but admittedly he was the one who threw the first bumper on the lap prior. But the difference between us three and Wayne Hansen is we don't have to pit. We're running to the line, and we are running in a fucking conga line on the way up to Indianapolis. I defended from DeFrisco. I tried to take a shot here. I couldn't get it done on the brakes, though. I have the least damage. I don't have rear aero damage. So I should have a little more straight line performance, but I just had an awful hairpin right there. I don't know how I managed to have an awful hairpin in an all-wheel drive car. Sue me. I should be taken out back. shot for that. Because that would have been the race-winning maneuver. Instead, I get disparate into the brakes. Still can't do it. Glass is just impeccable. It's a glass ceiling. I don't get it. Porsche curves. Dom is strong here, and he got alongside me for a moment, but I didn't take any of that. Run to the finish line. A pair of chicanes left here from the 40 minutes of Le Mans. Regulation time long since expired, and Dom has one last send on me, but I warded off because I tried to put the bumper to the 9 again. It didn't work. Juan de Glass was just indomitable, unshakable. He is the Kingslayer. He has won the 40 minutes of Le Mans, fittingly in the livery of the Oreca Viper that tried to win here 20-something years ago. But the C5R is actually back in 7th, for anybody wondering. Like some kind of alternate timeline type shit. But oh, come on, camera. Front view. Front view. Fine. Move the replay forward. Dom did get me at the finish line, but yeah, I missed the exit of the final chicane. I rattled myself. I tried to intimidate Juan de Glass. I instead intimidated myself and let Dom DePrisco actually use his four-wheel drive advantage off the final turn. But yeah, Juan de Glass is proving to once again be a big event name. Doesn't show up on Thursday, but when the stakes are high and the lights are bright, this woman is a fucking problem. I'm not gonna end there. Me, DePrisco, Glass is your podium. Wayne Hansen, kind of missing a ring here. I think he was the fastest driver overall, even if he didn't have the fastest lap. I don't know what that 3:31 was from Glass. That's just inhuman. Aranto hangs on to 5th despite making one of the biggest blunders in Challenge Series history. And yeah, it's a big day for Pacific Spirit, even though they didn't win. They get 2-6-17. Maybe it wasn't that big. But yeah, that is a $250,000 to the driver of the Dodge Viper right there, by the way. That was the payout for this 41-minute race by the end of things. This, we need to... Someone's got to do something. It's a wonder she didn't win the fucking Triple Crown earlier. She didn't really do so well at the Trial Mountain 12 laps. That's the only thing that has stopped her. She has been an undefeated endurance racer since the start of the year other than that.